All right, so another type of math question that you will probably have to be responsible for at some time is what they call straight line depreciation. Depreciation is a way that the government, the IRS, allows you to take advantage of the fact that your capital, your equipment is going to become less valuable over time. All right. So you get a tax advantage because of that. All right. So we have to determine what is the formula that the IRS uses. All right. And luckily, on the exam, they, as far as we know, you're only going to be responsible for straight line depreciation. And straight line depreciation is the simplest way to figure out depreciation. And and you should be able to do it. Anybody should be able to do pretty much figure out straight line depreciation. Okay. There's only two variations. One is if there's no salvage value. That means it's not going to be worth anything when you get done, and you can depreciate the whole cost, and you don't have to worry about it's going to be worth something when you're done. The second way is a little bit trickier, and that's if it's going to be worth something when it's done. Okay, that means you can't depreciate everything. You can only depreciate the difference between what you paid for it and what you're going to possibly get for it when you're done with it. They call it the useful life, once its useful life is over. So to help illuminate this, if you have your Builder's Guide to Accounting out, we can read on page 163 in the right-hand column, and that'll help us. It'll help illuminate what I'm trying to explain to you here. So I'm on page 163 of the Builder's Guide to Accounting. I'm in the right-hand column about halfway down, and it says straight line depreciation. Straight line depreciation is a way to spread the cost of an asset evenly over its useful life. The same amount of depreciation is taken each year. Now that's what's key right here, and that's why they call it straight line. The same amount of depreciation is taken each year until the depreciable base, that's the amount that you can depreciate, is reduced to zero. Okay. An asset worth $8,000 with an estimated useful life of 10 years and no salvage value, all right, would depreciate at $800 per year. So you would take, and I'm ad-libbing here, you would take the 8,000 divided by that 10-year useful life, and every year $800. It's going to be on your books. It's going to be worth $800 less every year. Okay. Now, what if it has a salvage value? If the same asset had a salvage value of $1,000, the depreciable, the amount you can depreciate, the depreciable total of $7,000. Why is it 7,000? Because it's going to be worth 1,000. It's going to have $1,000 salvage value when you're done. So you're going to take what you paid for it, 8,000. You're going to subtract what you're going to get for it, because you can't depreciate that because you're going to get that back. So it's 8,000 minus 1,000. You get 7,000. Okay, now you can depreciate the 7,000 over the 10 years. So the depreciable total of 7,000 would be depreciated at a rate of 700 per year. So it's really pretty simple. No salvage value. It's just the cost of the asset divided by its useful life, and that's your yearly depreciation. If there is a salvage value, you have to take the salvage value out first, then divide it by the useful life, and that's going to give you your yearly depreciation. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and do the first three of these questions. This is straight line, no salvage, 1, 2, and 3. Take a minute and do those, and then come back, hit the pause button, and then come back and let's see how we did. So let's see how you did. You should have gotten one should have been 20,000, which would have been pretty simple. It's 100,000, what you paid for it, divided by 5, you got 20,000. Okay, not a big deal. 2 gets a little trickier because you got 2 years worth and you've got a year 2 and year 3. So it's 2 years. So you got to add them together. So it's the 25,000 divided by the 5-year life, 5,000 times 2 years, $10,000. Okay. It's not they just put a little extra element in there, but you can figure this out. And then number 3, 65,000, the total depreciation. Well, the first time I did this question, I did some math, and then I realized, well, you know what? I didn't even have to do any math because, hey, it's no salvage value. So they're going to depreciate everything, 65,000. Maybe you divided 65 by 5 and then multiplied times 5 like I did the first time, and that's fine. But when we look at it as a whole, we say, okay, well, yeah, the answer's got to be B, 65,000, because there's no salvage value and we are going to depreciate everything. So that would be our total depreciation. Okay, well, sounds good. Well, hopefully that we got all those right, because those are fairly simple. You should be able to get those right, especially with no salvage value. Now, when you have a salvage value involved, that's where it gets a little trickier, because remember, okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you before I pull up the questions. Remember, you have to subtract the salvage value from what you paid for it before you divide by the useful life to get your yearly depreciation. All right, because you can't depreciate this, what you're going to get for it. You can't depreciate that salvage value, so you got to subtract that out first. All right, so let's I'm going to pull these up right now, and they're going to look very similar to these 3 questions, but there's just going to be a salvage value involved. So let's see how we do. All right, here we go. Let's do 1, 2, and 3, and then hit that pause button, and then come back and see how you did. All right, so number 1, you should have gotten $18,000. We take the 100,000 minus the 10. Okay, remember the salvage value has to come out first. You get 90. 90 divided by our 5-year life is $18,000 per year. Excellent. Okay, now let's talk about the number 2. We should have gotten $8,000. So we take our 25,000. All right. It's got a salvage value of 5, so we got to subtract that out first. We get 20,000. Okay, it's got a 5-year life, so that's 20,000 divided by 5 is 4,000. And now we have 2 years. Okay, years 2 and years 3, so it's 4,000 times 2, which is $8,000. And then we got Joe's Landscaping after 5 years, so it's 65,000 minus our 5,000 salvage. So we're going to depreciate a total amount of $60,000. So it's number 1 was C, number 2 was B, and number 3 was A. Hopefully you did pretty well on that. If not, you might want to rewind this to the beginning and give it another shot. Okay, great.